Hello again. We are ready for lesson 4 in our module 18. We're on page 469 and this lesson is called Make Bar Graphs. So we learned all about what bar graphs are and now we're going to be able to make our own. So the I can statement says I can draw a scaled bar graph to solve how many more and how many less problems. So remember, a scaled bar graph has the lines in the bar graph representing different things. So we're counting by 2s, we're counting by 4s, we're counting by 10s. Just like with the picture graphs, the pictures represent different symbols, the symbols represent different amounts. The scales also represent different amounts. So same idea, just different way to represent it. So the Spark Your Learning says Mrs. Vern's students collect the survey results shown in the tally chart. So the question is, which instrument would you like to learn how to play? The options were drums, guitar, piano, and trumpet. And so we had all of these votes on the side. So now we're going to make a representation of the data. We're going to make our own bar graph. So with any bar graph, or any graph really, we have our title. And this tells us what we're looking at. So I started with a graph like that. The title is, it went a little wonky, that's okay. I am going to call this, let's see, we'll just say instruments. I was just gonna use this, which instrument would you like to learn how to play? But that's a lot. So we'll just say instrument. Okay, and then remember, bar graphs have the subjects on the bottom and then the numbers going up the sides. And so before we even draw anything, we need to figure out our scale. We need to figure out how we are writing. So when we figure out our scale, you want to look at the smallest number versus the biggest number, because that will tell you like how much range your graph will have. Because if they're really close together, like if the highest number is 5 and the lowest number is 3, then you can just count by ones. It's not a big deal. Your graph isn't going to be that large. But if you have like your lowest number of votes is 3 and your highest number is 30, then you're going to have to figure something out, like maybe counting by 5s or something like that. So the lowest number is 3, the highest number is 11. Those are pretty close, not close enough to count by ones, but they're pretty close. And so I think I'm going to count by 2s. And remember, when we count by 2s on a graph, or when we count by any even number really, or any number, if we're in between the lines, that's about halfway between those two numbers, whatever this scale is. So if we count by 2s, in between those numbers are going to be the odd numbers. So we can get 3 and 11 in that between the two lines. So I'm going to draw my lines on the side, and so I'm going to count, okay, how many lines do I need? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I need 6 lines. So I'm going to go, okay, that will be 2, that will be 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 will be the top line. So now over on the side, I'm going to count. There's 0 at the bottom, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Okay, so now we need to label what these numbers represent. Well, who did Mrs. Vern's survey? Mrs. Vern's students collect the survey results shown in the tally chart. Which instrument would you like to learn to play? So this is the number of votes for the instrument. Number of votes. You gotta label your graph. Number of votes. And then the bottom is going to be the instrument type. So that goes on the bottom. And see how I gave it some space, because underneath I'm going to have like the specific categories. So first I'm going to start with the drums. I write drums. Okay, and drums got 6 votes. So I am going to draw a line all the way up to the line 6. I'm going to go across a little bit and down to create a bar. And then I would fill it in. Maybe use a different color to make it all cute. Then the next instrument is the guitar. So I'll write guitar. And guitar got 11 votes. So this one, I'm going to go all the way up to 10. And then it's not quite 12, so remember I'm counting by 2s, and so the even numbers are on the lines, the odd numbers are halfway in between the line. So I'm gonna stop right there. Draw across and back down, fill it in, and that's my bar. Then the piano got 8 votes, so I'll write piano for the category on the bottom. Draw my line up to 8, across and down, color it in. And then the last instrument is the trumpet, so I'll write that. And it goes up to 3, only 3 votes. And so it's greater than 2, but not quite to 4, halfway in between. Like that. And color it in. So you want to try and be pretty neat. Okay, next page. It says, Nola surveys the players on her soccer team about choosing a color for the team shirt. She makes the picture graph shown. Okay, so now we're using picture graphs and we're gonna convert it into a bar graph. It says, make a bar graph of the data shown in the picture graph. So the titles are gonna be the same. Votes for team shirt color. So that goes on the top. So you'll write that in. Votes for team shirt color. Then on the bottom is going to be the colors, the color types. And on the side is going to be the number of votes. So we got all that information from the picture graph over there. So number of votes. So now I have to figure out the scale. How am I going to count by? Well, we have, let's see, each circle represents 2 votes. So since the key is counting by 2, that's going to be something I think about. Maybe I should also count by 2 for my bar model. But we'll check. So the blue is 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, and then green is 2, 4, purple is 2, 4, 6, and red is 2 plus 1 is 3. That was silly. Okay, so now I'm looking at 9, 4, 6, and 3. The difference between 3 and 9, probably, since there's not a lot of lines given, I'm probably going to count by 2s. So the first one is always 0. Remember that? Then it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So see, if I had counted by 1s, I'd have to go all the way up to 9, and I don't have 9 lines. I start with 0. If I were to do 1s, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have 6 lines. So that wouldn't have been enough. So I have to count by 2s. So now I'll just do my model. So the first category is blue. There are 9 votes for blue. So I will go up to 8, but it's not quite to 10. It's halfway in between 8 and 10, and that will be 9. Then green is 4, so I'm gonna write green, and then I'm gonna go all the way up to the 4 line, exactly on that line. And then purple is 6, so I'll write purple, and then I'll go up to the line 6, fill it in, and then red, I write red. And there's only 3 votes, so it's gonna be more than 2, but not yet 4, so I'm in between those 2 lines. And there's my bar model, my bar graph. So part A says, what number do you count by on the scale? We count it by 2s. How do you know the height to draw each bar? Well, it says, how do we know the height to draw each bar? Well, we look at the number of votes over here on the side. We try to divide that number by 2 and then find it on the graph and go up to that point. So like 9 is not divided by 2, but the closest number is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4 lines and then half. So you just look at the numbers and look and see multiples of 2. That's kind of a funky question, especially because you can look at the numbers on the side. So I would just rely on that. Part C says, what equation can you write to find how many more votes blue receives than red? So again, when we're comparing, we subtract. So blue has 9 votes and red has 3 votes. So you'll do 9 minus 3 equals 6. And so you'll say 6 more votes for blue than red. Okay, and the next page, it says choose a survey question. Include 3 or 4 answer choices for your question. Decide how you will record the answers. Take a survey of your classmates. So you guys are going to ask your family members a question, a survey. You're going to draw your own graph, record your own data, label it, mark it, everything, and then you'll answer all those questions on the check understanding. So that is going to be totally dependent on what you do and your survey type. If there's not a lot of people in your family, that's totally fine. Just write about what you might do too. Maybe come up with like 2 different choices. Like what's your favorite color out of blue or red? And then those are the only options. And so if there's 3 people in your family, 2 people in your family, you would just do it that way. So yeah, that is that. So now we'll go to the on your own. It says, Cody collects data about the kind of shapes that he sees on buildings. His data is shown on the table. Make a vertical bar graph that shows the data on the table. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, okay. I was worried that on page 470 it was asking for a horizontal bar graph, but it's not. Okay, so let's go back to the step it out. So remember, horizontal, you're going to have the numbers on the bottom instead of on the side, and then your categories over on the side. And they're going to go out across like that. Same exact thing, same exact concept, but they're just going to be, the graphs are just this way. So that's totally fine. Okay. Phew, I was worried for a second, but we're good. Okay. It says make a vertical bar graph that shows the data in the table. What number will you count by for the scale? Okay, so the title of our bar graph is going to be Shapes on Buildings. So that's what I'm going to write. Shapes on Buildings. Okay, and then vertical is going, starting from the bottom, going up. And so the bottom is going to have the shapes. And then on the side is going to be number of shapes. So now for the circle we have 5, 10, 15. Rectangle we have 5, 10, 15, 20. Triangle we have 5. Okay, so the difference between 5 and 20 is quite a lot. And another thing I'm noticing is that 5, 15, and 20 are all multiples of 5. And so my scale is going to be counting by 5. So what number? So for number 3, we are going to count by 5s. That makes the most sense. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to draw our lines. The highest number is 20, so we have to make sure we have enough lines. 20 divided by 5 is 4, so we need at least 4 lines. So we always start with 0. That will be 5, 10, 15, and then the top will be 20. So we'll go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. Then the bottom is the circle. I'm just going to draw a circle. The circle has 15 points or votes, or just they've seen 15 circles, so we'll just color up to 15. Or we could do 5, 10, 15 and count the lines like that. For rectangles, I'll draw a rectangle. And that has 20 votes, so I'm going to go all the way up to 20. And then finally, the triangle has 5 votes, so I'll go just up to 5. Just a few triangles. All right, number 4 says, how many more rectangles does Cody see than triangles? So again, this is how many more. That's a comparative problem. And so we are going to subtract. So rectangles has more votes. So we'll do 20 minus 5 equals 15 more rectangles. Number 5, how many fewer triangles than circles does Cody see? So again, we're comparing triangles and circles. Circles is greater, so we'll start with that. 15 minus 5 equals 10 fewer triangles. Number 6, suppose Cody sees 5 more circles and 5 more triangles. How would the bars change? Explain. Well, since they both increased by 5, and that's our scale, they would both go up by 1 line. So instead of, instead of 15 circles, we'd go up to 20. And that would just be the very next line. Instead of 5 triangles, there would be 10. And that is the very next line because that happens to be our scale. So they would just go up to the next line. Okay, I hope that made sense. Good luck on your homework. Let me know if you need anything. Awesome job doing 2 math lessons in 1 day. You are a superstar. Great job. Thank you for working so hard. Love your guts. Let me know if you need anything. Bye.